This meeting is called to order at 6:30 p.m. Monday, September 11th, 2017. This meeting is being recorded. Move to accept the minutes of the public meeting last week, September 5th, as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes of last week's public meeting are accepted. Move to accept the minutes of last week's non-public session as written.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are accepted. Move to seal the minutes of last week's non-public session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are sealed. Okay, the only announcement we have is that this Friday night, the Recreation Committee will be hosting movie night at the Samuel E. Paul Community Center on South Street. Starts at 6:30 p.m. The movie is free. I think popcorn is free?
Popcorn is free.
Popcorn is free, but if you want dinner, it's 4 o'clock. What time does dinner start?
It's $4 for the dinner, and the dinner starts around 6:30, 7 o'clock. We usually cook it prior to, or start cooking around 6.
All right.
So by the time we start the movie, we can
Good.
serve it for them.
All
And
right.
it's pizza this time.
Sounds good. Okay, whole business. Complaints on Richmond Road, deadline September 14th, or we're still waiting on that?
Okay, but we will get to the 14th before next Monday's meeting, so.
Yes, until that deadline passes, there is nothing for us to do.
Okay,
Okay. Ridley map, that's for your non-public session at the end?
correct?
Okay. Job descriptions. Alissa, have we gotten back any of those questionnaires?
No.
Okay. Forensic audit, I made some copies today. I'll be contacting the county attorney to see if they will proceed. Second driveway on School Street. Where do we stand on that issue? Jason, I'm sure you brought a lot of paperwork with you.
Just my file. For
Oh, okay.
What's going on there. I just got the paperwork for the things for the application, I guess, for the zoning board today. And I only got a quick chance to look through them on lunch today. And it seems like it's a fair amount of paperwork to go through with your butters and quite a bit to go through that. And I'm just kind of looking back at the whole thing and where this has all started and where we are now. And it seems like it's just too much work for where we're going to end up with the driveway. So I want to do two things, if I may. One, I just want to go through some quick bullet points of all of this to try to make sure everybody's back up to speed where we are. And two, ask you guys one more time to vote on this, where you guys do have the authority to do so, being that we have the town guy involved and he doesn't have an issue with it. Is that something you guys would consider doing?
Well, I think we covered that last week. Yes, we have the authority to do it, but we don't have the obligation to do it. And our reluctance to do it is because of the abutters.
Yep.
So
And I guess my point to that, and of course I'm not one to think on my feet, would be that it's been there for 2 years, and there has been no complaints with it being there. And the reason it went in is because we were parking on the lawn and it was muddy in the spring. And I did that I'm trying to clean this place up and make this place better. And I kind of feel like I'm going backwards if I go back there, which I don't really want to do. And I guess my point is I just wanted to.
Okay,
Give it
I
one
have a
last chance.
question, if I may. What constitutes a driveway?
A curb cut.
But there wasn't one.
Right.
Well, let me just clarify that. When you say curb cut, there's no curb. But
there
that's
wasn't
not
a
what curb cut means.
Right, there
Curb cut
wasn't,
means connecting to the road.
but there isn't.
Well, it is. There's no curb on that side of the street.
I believe it is actually cutting the curb.
I don't think there's a sidewalk or a curb on that side of the road.
No, there isn't.
Yeah.
No, there isn't. But I believe I had the definition of that,
Oh, okay.
which would be right here.
Because I think we have to be careful. What would constitute it not being a
Driveway means any point of vehicular access, which of course we are. And then I saw curb cut in here somewhere.
Okay, so then no matter what,
Yeah, it was just curb. Curb means the radius of concrete. I know I read in here somewhere that it was the cut of it, but I don't have it just right
okay,
this quick.
then I guess what I mean is if gravel is removed and there's grass there, it's permitted? I'm asking.
It's not really permanent, but if you want to park on your grass, I don't think there's any ordinance for you if you want to park on your grass.
So
You can.
so if Jason has never established a driveway,
He
and
could,
just drove right up on the lawn to that
Like you
point,
were.
and once you get past the right of way, if you were to put gravel in your yard, it would not be a driveway. Is that what we're saying? Even though there's a cover there,
Well, that
carport.
doesn't make any difference. He can put whatever he
You
wants.
put a
in his
carport
yard.
over anything in your back,
Right.
or a picnic table.
Yeah, yeah.
so
But before we go in, what's your reluctance to go to zoning on this?
It seems like a fair amount of work to do that.
But a lot of it they do.
So they're filling out all the paperwork.
well, you have to fill out the application, and they'll. I think they actually
Contact the
the
abutters,
abutters
yeah.
and everything, and let them know. And then when they do a public hearing,
Yeah.
and Jody was notified. I guess it just didn't get sent back to the selectman's office. But when I talked to John Collins, that they're actually expecting your application.
I see.
So, I mean,
It just
Okay, so to my point then, if he was willing to do that, that would avoid the ZBA.
I'm not 100% sure. I mean,
Well, everybody parks on their lawn.
right. I mean, I think so.
But this is all kind of part of the bigger picture of where I'm kind of going with this. Where this is a duplex. There's the side of it where it's nice to have my tenants be able to park close to that door to be able to get in and out, especially in slippery conditions. We have limited parking on the other side. I mean, we haven't cut in any curb. It doesn't. It seems like there's so much to do to get to something that's so simple. Where you guys
Okay,
have the
yeah,
authority to
you're
simply
right.
vote on it.
But that's why I thought my suggestion might eliminate that. Because they have decided already that it should move forward to ZBA. So, once the board decides that,
Which one, this board?
yeah, this
Okay.
board.
I mean,
Right.
there's 5 hardships that you have to prove to the ZBA.
Right, which is
And it's
I work 50 hours a week at my normal job, and I run a real estate business, so my time's pretty limited. So there's a
What's your
certain
regular
point at
job?
which I just draw the line, and I don't have time for things.
What's
and
your regular job?
I'm a mechanic in Keene at GNR Auto Works.
At what?
I do European cars.
Okay, all right. I saw the t-shirt that said Monadnock Aviation. I
Yeah,
thought
I'm a
maybe you were an
pilot,
aircraft
too.
mechanic.
Oh,
No.
he is too. There
No,
you
I'm
go,
not. No,
boys.
I'm not.
Make a relationship here.
No,
Let's
no,
get
I'm
this
not.
done.
I don't know where you got that idea.
You're a pilot?
I'm not a mechanic.
I didn't say you were. I said
Yes,
you were a
I
pilot.
said I thought you were a mechanic, and then you
No.
pointed at me and said he is too.
Well, I'm a pilot.
Okay.
We're both pilots, I guess. Either way.
I don't know. What do you want to do?
Well,
I mean, I
how,
go
how
back.
much paperwork is involved? And I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
If I've got to prove these 5 hardships, that's a fair amount of work to deal with to put that all together.
Because I looked at that and I thought that's just a matter of answering 5 questions.
It didn't. Again, I didn't get to look at it that long, but I look at it and my eyes glazed over, and it's just.
You got a few minutes right now? Let's
I
take a look at it.
absolutely do. I'd love to.
And Curtis is calling it up on his tablet, and we'll see what's involved. Because the way I look at it, I thought it was just a matter of you writing a letter to the ZBA saying, this is what I want to do. Please grant me the exception or adjustment, whichever it is, and then addressing those 5 things.
Okay, so do you think that would be an option,
Which,
Curtis?
all right?
I
let's
mean,
see
I
what-
can't stop anybody from parking on their lawn. If you want to park on your lawn, I don't.
So what you're saying
So-
is if he removed,
It's like 10
Over
to 15
the-
feet because when you put in a driveway permit, they're only permitting that like 10 to 15 feet from the property line, saying yes, now you have a curb cut is what the actual term is.
right,
The only reason why I remember this is because I'm dealing with Brad Hunter's property with that. Now, if after that right there, it's up to the homeowner to make sure that they meet everything else. In other words, if
so beyond that
buildings-
point, he can do whatever he wants. He can leave the gravel under his,
well, technically yes, but it's not whatever he wants. It still has to meet all the ordinances. In other words, you can't just build a building there. It has to be in accordance with our ordinances.
well, no,
but
I'm
the
talking
ground
about
is the
what's
gravel.
there right now.
Yeah, is the gravel in the ground?
I don't see how we can tell him he cannot park on his lawn.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We can't. I mean, anybody can park on their own lawn if they want to.
You ride by anybody's house and half of them, people are parked on the lawn.
Another point, and I don't know if it's relevant, and I might be going out on the wrong road here, and you guys can tell me, but number 10 School Street is a multi-family, and they have 2 driveways, paved driveways. So it's not like I'm breaking or trying to rewrite School Street or change anything. I mean, it's a duplex.
And that's what you have.
That's what I have. And I
Did
just,
you know that?
What, for 10 School Street? The only parking I know is on the right-hand side. And
10
I
School
don't know
Street
if
has a
there's-
driveway, and one on one side goes back to a garage. They have 2 driveways.
That 10 School Street doesn't, that garage belongs to the apartment building on the left-hand side, actually.
But the parking there is for the main building itself. Here,
That might be
if
something.
they're parking on the garage, then the other guys have 2 driveways.
That's,
There's an extra
there might
driveway
be an
between
agreement
those
between
buildings.
the two, though, because I used to live on 10 School
Yep.
Street back in the day. And we were always parked on the right-hand side where the grass is, and then also on the back of the building.
Yeah, and it's not
And
something I want to argue or anything. It's just I wanted to bring it up that it's I'm not trying to break or change,
Right.
the area.
I understand.
Okay, I solved your problem. We could be done.
You did. I read the regulation. It says the only purpose of that driveway regulation is for safe, efficient access to and from property. It doesn't say we have to make the neighbors happy, which they've had 2 years to complain if they're going to.
I really don't think that, I'll tell you what, the reason we mentioned abutters, or I did, because it's in print, it's the law. So when we do anything, we have to make
hear the
sure
questions.
that we're abiding by everything that is in print, everything that is the law. Because we don't want you or the guy next door coming back to us and saying,
Let's look at the
forward.
things that you would have to address in your application. Granting the variance would not be contrary to the public interest because, then you fill in the blanks. And we can help you with the wording on that,
I would love help with it.
okay? If the variance were granted, the spirit of the ordinance would be observed because, okay? Granting this variance would do substantial justice because, sounds like a high school quiz here. I hate essay questions. If the variance were granted, the values of the surrounding properties would not be diminished because, I don't know how to answer that one. Unnecessary hardship. Owing to the special conditions of the property that distinguish it from the other properties in the area, denial of the variance would result in unnecessary hardship because no fair and substantial relationship exists between the general public purposes of the ordinance provision and the specific application of that provision to the property because the proposed use is a reasonable one because explain how, if the criteria in subparagraph A are not established, an unnecessary hardship will be deemed to exist, and et cetera. It's just a matter of just
It's
answering a bunch of essay questions.
Right, exactly. Which is back to the point of why it seems so much simpler just to have you guys vote on it and be done with it.
Well, if we vote on it, I'm going to vote no. Even though I'd like to see you keep that driveway. But I'm going to have to go with what the ordinance says. And even though it gives us the right to grant an exception, that doesn't address the abutters.
yeah, you don't want us to vote, probably.
Okay.
Okay, because we don't want anybody coming back on us, which they can do.
Easier to
It's
say no
not,
than yes.
it's not you, it's the law. And we are bound by the printed word.
Well, even though the printed word gives us the right to make the exception, if we do that, then what do we do the next time somebody comes in?
Well, no, abutters are also in there, so we are not, we are not condoning it. That's the printed word also. Butters are included in there. We-
And
we
that's under
can't
the driveway
eliminate them.
regulation, or is that under the overall regulations?
What, abutters?
Yeah. Where they
Abutters
need to be involved.
need to be notified when there is a change, correct, in the property.
Yeah, I don't have it.
I mean, there was nothing in the driveway permit about it. I mean, all this is I'm going along, I'm trying to learn at
It's
the
in the
same time.
ZBA.
I mean, those questions, I mean, if you took an hour out of your time and just asked those questions, it'd almost be more beneficial to actually go
Wait,
forward.
let me ask you a question here. Is this an adjustment or a variance? What's the difference between an adjustment and a variance from zoning?
Well, if the ordinance says no, they're gonna have to get a variance to go against the ordinance, so they're accepted. Or,
All right, but in this case, for this driveway, is that an adjustment or a variance?
I think it would be a variance.
All right. And I don't know the difference. I know there is a difference.
Well, I'd say an adjustment may be in location, that would be
Of an
adjustment.
existing and you're just moving it.
Right.
Well, do you know this, or you?
No, I'm
Okay,
just,
that's what I'm getting at, is I think and here's why I'm asking. There's a separate paragraph for a variance, and a variance is much simpler. So if that's all that you need, then it will be simpler. Let me read what it says here. The Board of Adjustment shall authorize upon appeal in specific cases a variance from the terms of this ordinance, as will not be contrary to the public interest, if, owing to special conditions, a literal enforcement of the provisions of this ordinance will result in unnecessary hardship. The board shall grant a variance providing the following conditions are satisfied. 1. The variance will not be contrary to the public interest. 2. The variance is consistent with the spirit of the ordinance. 3. Substantial justice is done by granting the variance. 4. The values of surrounding properties will not be diminished. 5. Literal enforcement would result in unnecessary hardship. It's a little more detailed than that, but that seems the simpler way to go. But again, is that a variance or an adjustment? We have to figure that out. Curtis, you're supposed to be the expert on this.
Yeah, I'm not the expert. That's why I always bring
Okay.
it back to the committee and
The one thing I've learned with
Get
all this is
clarification.
you need to go to college for 4 years to even begin to sit where you're sitting.
Oh, that doesn't make a difference, believe me. The only way you learn to do this job is by sitting here.
Sitting here and doing it.
You know. Spent a couple of years on the budget committee gives you good background in it. A couple of years on the planning board gives you
I
even
don't
more
know.
experience.
so you would prefer not to park on grass or pull in
Well,
on grass simply
yeah, I mean it
because of
turns. Yeah, I mean it's soft and it turns in springtime. It gets muddy, and I like my stuff nice. So if I,
know,
can have
but
it nice.
even now, you probably couldn't get all the
But you
gravel
go on the
out.
grass, you should keep doing that, and when it gets wet, it's going to be muddy. It's going to be full of ruts.
Is your yard muddy, Curtis?
This one was muddy when
in
we
the
were.
back, yeah.
We had been parking there for a while before we did the driveway, and the only reason we brought the stone in was because we were sinking in the mud. But I see where you're coming from.
I was hoping to find a definition in here, but I can't find it.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
We want to give it the week and figure it out.
When does the planning board meet?
Well, they met last Wednesday, right, Curtis?
Yeah, so another
2 weeks.
2
Got
weeks.
another week.
All right. I mean, we've given you an extension on this anyway, right?
Yeah, I think we're good
How
more or
close are
less
we?
until we go live. I don't know where we are with it, to
Alright.
be honest with you.
Well, obviously, we're going to extend it as long as we need to.
Right,
until-
right, yeah,
until the issue
yeah.
is beaten to death.
Right.
I've
you
got the
learn.
handbook for the ZBA at home. So let me do some research on this between now and next week.
Okay.
All right. But that makes all the difference in the world, I think. If you have an adjustment, it's going to be answering the essay questions.
Right.
But I think if we're talking about the variance, and again, this is just based on my reading of this statute, or ordinance rather, I think if all you need is a variance, then just appearing before the board and explaining it to them should be sufficient.
Great.
All right, so,
Makes more sense.
so we'll table this until next week. I'll do some research on it between now and next week.
Is there any chance I could have you give me a call and give me a heads up?
I will do that. Does she have your contact info?
I'll give it to her before
Okay.
I leave.
Great, thank
Thank you.
Can Marcy step in real quick?
Sure.
Sky?
Hi, Marcy.
Hi. Well, Dave
Dave and Jimmy were supposed to be here with me, but they're at a fire.
Okay.
And I'm on vacation next week, so I couldn't wait.
All
So, we did some research, and I think you guys are gonna be very happy to know that we are not bound into that contract after all. I highlighted where it says we have 30 days to cancel.
Let's plan.
All right.
And we had an idea that we would give us a week. We'll help anybody that needs help getting their, organizing it, writing it, whatever. And then we'll come in, have you guys take a look at our draft and see where we go from there.
Okay. We signed that contract, what, 2 weeks ago?
No, the 28th, it's on the front page. I
Oh,
went to the
That's 2
second
weeks ago.
page.
August 28th.
Okay, yeah,
Okay. So that means we have,
plenty of time.
yeah. Yeah, if the various department heads can come in and give us what we consider an acceptable job description
Yeah, because she was only gonna do.
prior to the deadline here.
Well, we have Marcy's.
We'll have it ready
Yeah.
by next week,
Okay, that's what I'm saying. So,
Yes.
yeah, if you could do this by next week,
absolutely.
then we could look at it, and if we think it's
We
sufficient.
can also, Alyssa can get the information that she had before, she can re-get that,
Which information is that?
That had all my job description and everything,
Okay.
and all the
All
stuff
right.
from the,
NHMA.
All right.
from the Primax. I mean, I'm not trying to, I'm trying to be good for the town, I'm a
Okay.
taxpayer too.
Yeah.
This is coming out of my tax money,
Right.
out of yours, everyone's. If we have to spend the money, we have to spend the
All right.
money, but
Okay.
I'm pretty frugal with my money.
Yeah.
If I can spend more time and save a whole lot of money, well, I'm there.
All right. I agree with you, Marcy. I'd rather do it internally than go out to somebody else. It's just that we felt that we didn't have the time
Okay.
to do it. But if you and Dave and Jim are gonna do it, then, yeah, I think we're in good shape. And I would certainly, we won't vote on it tonight. But
Pardon me?
we won't vote on this tonight.
Okay,
'Cause we don't have to do anything at this point, because like you said, we have 30 days.
okay.
And
Just wanna make sure that
and
we
Paula
don't
had-
get too
Have
close.
bypass
Alyssa's
our
got her
time.
hand up. What do you got, Alyssa?
She plans on picking up what we have tomorrow, because she keeps calling me every Monday.
All right.
Yeah, and I've been here twice when she's called.
Yeah, last weekend, this week.
All right. We'll call her. What time is she coming in together?
She said she'd be here before noon tomorrow.
All right. Ask her to hold off, and when I come in tomorrow, we'll call her
Okay.
and we'll talk to her. We'll be upfront about what's going on, and say, don't do anything. We may be exercising that 30-day cancellation.
Okay, so do you want me to explain this to her, or do
Well,
you
why
want me to
don't we
explain
just
I want-
exercise
I
it
want
while
to,
we're
but,
talking to her?
But I don't want to do it tonight.
it? Okay, so can you just take the paper and call her?
Well, I'm going to be in here tomorrow.
Right, but I don't know between which time period she's coming between meetings to just grab the papers and go. So I don't know exactly what time she was coming in here to get those papers, but it will be sometime before noon.
Okay. I'm missing something. What is it you want?
Okay, so probably what we need to do is email her tonight. So first thing in the morning when she gets to the office or whatever, she sees that she is not to stop here and pick it up.
Right, exactly. That's why I said contrary to tell her to hold off. We're not canceling this at this point. We're simply not ready to proceed.
Okay.
But you can call her and say we don't have anything to hand off to her. But I want to be upfront about why we're doing this.
Okay.
I want her to know that.
I mean, it could be at the end that, because this is just gonna be a first draft anyways, that's
Yeah.
what we were paying her to do. Between all the other stuff that Alyssa gets and, we can call, it's a municipality, call a couple towns, say, hey, what do you have for job descriptions?
Right.
And, see,
Yeah.
oh, yeah,
Or Primex or NHMA.
yeah, I mean, we can do that, compare them, and get something together.
Right.
We may not be able to do the final draft. But this was only gonna be a first draft anyway, so if we
Correct,
can
yeah.
save money,
All right,
why wouldn't we?
all right, I agree. So let's do this with Paula. Just let her know not to come in. And then tomorrow when I pop in, then we'll call her.
Okay.
All right, I don't want to tell her in an email what's going on. I want to get her on the phone and tell her. But I don't want her to come in here first. So would you send her an email, you can do that tonight, saying, don't stop in tomorrow, we'll call to discuss. And then tomorrow when I pop in, we'll call her and we'll tell her that we're holding off on this, that we may exercise the cancellation.
Okay.
But then we'll know by next week.
Good job, Morris.
Okay.
Where's
No,
the
and-
fire?
They didn't tell me.
Where?
South Street.
What's that?
South
Oh,
Street.
God.
Is that with fires?
I didn't hear anything.
Oh, you didn't have a,
That was my page, right?
oh, yeah, there's South Street.
Not again.
Every fire's on South Street.
No.
We never had fires on Richmond Road. I've never seen a fire truck
That's
up there.
because we take care of things.
South Main Street.
Damn it! Is it my house?
Yeah.
I haven't been home
Well,
since 3:30
Curtis has
this
to
morning.
leave. Curtis gotta
Wait a
go.
minute, I just got a text.
Okay,
Next house on the
so,
curb can't really get out into traffic. 4 fire trucks, ambulances, and cops.
Which one?
There's something going on at the next house on the curb. Can't really get out into traffic.
Next house on the curb.
That's got nothing to do with what we're doing here tonight, so we'll drive on.
Okay.
thanks,
Alright,
Mark,
so
for
we're good?
coming in.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah.
Okay, very
And
good.
tell
Did you
Jimmy
need this
and
back or
Dave.
can I have
Nope,
it?
those are yours.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good
You
night.
too, have a good vacation. Oh, no, that's
No,
next week.
thanks. Making longer and longer, aren't ya?
Okay, where were we? Just finishing up. We just finished up with second driveway. Okay, so I'll take care of the research on that reg. Okay, number 6, fundraiser. It says Mark is going to call Ben Drug this evening.
Yes, that's what you wanted to update. I texted him and he said he's been working, not getting home till 8:30 at night.
Okay,
It's
understood.
bad time for him
Okay.
right now.
Troy Redevelopment Group. Do we have anything on that, Curtis?
I haven't heard anything moving forward.
Okay. All right, West Hill Road complaint. September 7th was the deadline. But we did not send out that original letter certified as we are now doing. So it says here, see pics from today. You have some photographs?
In your folder
They're in
there.
the folder.
Okay.
Well, if that's the case with all the other ones, we could get the other ones set out immediately.
All right, so it looks like nothing has been done there. So, Alissa, tomorrow, when I come in, we'll do something about it. The photos actually don't have anything to do with our decision here.
Right. Are we setting a certified this time?
Yes, but tomorrow I'll take a ride by before I come in here. And then I'll say, yeah, put the certified letter out, and I'll sign it, and we'll get that out in the mail.
Is the wheel still on that, and the axle still on that?
I don't think
Did
so.
you see those pictures?
Yeah, I think they are, Curtis.
Well, then now they've ripped.
I think they're down into the ground
It's worse than it
somewhat.
was before because they ripped the bottom off of it.
Yeah, and the front too. It's gone.
And the axles are still there. So, I'm just wondering, the axles are once removed, now it becomes a structure.
Right, but
But
they
now it
haven't
still
been.
has the axle on it, it's still considered movable, a vehicle, so,
Right.
same thing with,
Well, this was only one of the items on the complaint.
right, yeah.
There's other stuff in there. Okay, Central Square complaint, we sent the second notice out. The reason for the second notice is that the first one was not certified. So that certified one is out there with a deadline of October 1st. Any comment or questions on that?
No.
Amnesty Day.
I'm ready.
All right. What is the date?
The dates are October 13th and 14th. October 13th is 12 to 4:30.
Yeah.
October 14th is 8 to 4:30.
So the normal operating hours of the transfer station.
Correct.
Okay. Do we have a list of what can be turned in and what
Everything
cannot?
is on here for you to put in the Troy Town News.
Okay,
Okay, I'll read it.
all right.
Troy Town News coupon for admittance. We're putting that in the paper. It's going to be 1 coupon per 1 truckload.
What is that for?
It's to make sure people don't bring 10 truckloads
All right.
of,
Oh, I see. So you show up with a coupon.
you turn in your coupon, you empty your truck, you're done for the day.
All right, then. So if I got 10 truckloads, I'll just pick up 10 copies of the Troy Town
Well,
Post
then,
Office.
no, we'll recognize you, trust me.
Like disguises, I'll put on a mustache.
No, okay. Tires, limit 5.
All right.
Shingles will absolutely not be accepted. Garbage will only be accepted in town of Troy bags. Hazardous waste is never accepted in Troy, and that includes Amnesty Day. Okay, hazardous waste day will be in Keene on October 28th.
Okay.
Okay, and if you want to know anything else,
I do.
there it is.
Based on what you
for
just
the
told
end.
us,
Uh-huh,
other than tires, what is Amnesty Day for?
everything.
TVs,
TVs.
All right,
I saw your
okay.
TV.
beds.
So electronics.
Anything.
Electronics.
It's exactly what is accepted and not accepted now.
All right, so the purpose of this is things that you would bring in there and have to pay to get rid of.
You can.
You can do it for free. Okay. With the exception of shingles.
And tires are only 5.
And a limit of 5 tires
Correct.
for free. Okay.
All right.
Can I get a copy of that paper for my minutes, because I think
Sure, not
For
a
a fee.
problem.
for a fee,
For a fee.
really.
All right, so
No, I'll
we'll-
do it.
I'm still right here.
Oh, all right.
We'll submit that to the Troy Town News as part of Selectmen's Corner for the October 1st issue.
Okay, that would be appreciated.
Okay, anything else for Amnesty Day?
No, we covered it.
Are you doing the coupon too, to go with it?
Well, he can just draw one and put one.
Oh, I thought you had a coupon. You want me to draw one?
No, it has to go in. You have to cut it out of Troy Town News.
Where's the coupon?
You make it. You just make
I
a
make it.
square and put 1 truckload per
All right.
coupon. Put the dates. That's
All right.
it. You're done.
So when I said, where's the coupon? The answer is, you don't have one.
No.
You want me to make it?
Yep.
Okay.
I think it should have its own section.
I have 4 articles to write this month, so
All
this
right,
one's
all right,
on you.
all right. Let me write down that. Okay, Georgiani Trust Fund Public Hearing, October
Thank
10th at 7 PM. That'll be at the Community Center. We have anything to discuss on that? I don't think so.
Are you putting that in the Troy Town News?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Where are we?
You are.
Yeah, that's why we moved it to October.
I know, but I'm making sure it's not something I need to do.
Oh, no, I got that.
Okay,
Already written up.
excellent.
Okay, Fitzwilliam Road complaint, with nothing further on that, right? Okay.
I haven't heard anything.
Boston Cane Harvest Festival. Did you order the plaque?
I went and got a price.
Okay.
It's $125 to $150.
Okay.
We
Is
were
that
at-
for both plaques?
No, that's just one.
Okay.
The other one's gonna be a little bit more money. We're gonna worry about that next year,
Okay.
okay?
But that's like a one-time purchase. After that, we just have to buy the little tiny
With the
plates to go on it. Yeah. Okay.
That's why I needed the, permanent marker, fine point, because I need you guys to sign, and they're actually gonna take your signatures and put them on the plaque.
Okay.
So I'll get it for next week and get it over to them.
All right. So do we need to do anything further on this tonight?
No,
Okay. Troy Mills parking lot.
There's a lot of wood down there, I know that.
is there?
It's just like scrap, it just looks like crap. It's not big piles of wood, it's just miscellaneous
Well,
chunks
he,
that fell
he
off.
done needs to come and
Detritus.
get it cleaned up.
Right, so I don't know what's, but didn't we say last week or the week before that he doesn't know who took the wood?
Well, that's not our problem.
So,
All right.
It doesn't.
Hackle abatement, we're gonna table that for tonight because we need to do some research on that, and when I come in tomorrow, I will, figure out the numbers on that so that we can vote on it next week. Okay, any questions on anything we've covered so far?
no.
You got anything for us, Norm, on old business? Okay. All right, Curtis, you got some updates for us?
Yes, we met with let's start with the planning board last week, and we'll start with Tim and Deb Wilson, their property. We tried to look to see if it was subdivided. There is actually no paperwork in the planning board's files about when there was subdivided, but I think Steve was the one that actually pointed out that it said that accepting from the above described premises a certain parcel of land conveyed to Edward R. Ojala and Nancy Ojala by deed of George Ojala and Ellie Ojala dated July 11th, 1966. So with that date there, I called up Deb and let her know that there's nothing in her file that we could see. So if she went to Keene Registry of Deeds and look it up in the file that should be in Keene. And if it is before the July 1st, 1971 timeframe, they're good, because this one right here actually is just a deed paperwork. But anyway, then it's going to be a lot easier for her to do that subdivision or sell it to her daughter and all this other stuff.
Okay, so what we're saying then is the property she owns up there is a single lot?
It's a single lot. They own two, and it's side by side. And
What is it that she wants to do?
she wants to sell one lot to her daughter, and
Okay.
her daughter wants to put a house on there. And
Alright.
the driveway permit, they applied for one to the state,
Because it's a state highway.
state highway. The state came out and they said, well, we'll have to deny it because it doesn't meet the distance, site distance, and a couple other things. I don't really know off the top of my head. I think it was a site distance. But he also said, or they also said, that if you appeal it, they'll have to give it to you because you have a right to access your property, and because none of the other driveways on Monadnock Street are actually up to par. So, with that being said, she's going to appeal it, but she also wanted to find out if it was subdivided before July 1st, 1971, and if it was, then she gets it's basically a free pass anyway, because
Okay.
it was subdivided prior to
Right.
that
Okay.
time frame. So
Right.
she knows now to go to the Keene Registry of Deeds, see if they can find it, and if not, I guess the question is this date right here, it looks like it's
Well,
a
she could
valid
also-
date, and if we want to basically sign off on it, that's the date, that if we're good with it,
We have
because there's actually
something
no
later to talk.
documentation.
Oh, right, now, to that point, we have something to talk about here later.
Okay.
In non-public. We might want to revisit that again afterwards.
Okay.
All right. But based on what you just read us in there, it looks like that lot was separate in 1966.
Right, and I asked the planning board and everyone on it and said, could that be considered it? And they said, well, it's kind of there should be some type of a documentation saying it, but back then.
So that's a document saying it.
Well, that's what I thought too. I was like, okay, well, this is the documentation. It's documented, and I'm all for it.
Yeah.
You can,
And who is that from? Just the town of Troy?
this is
That's the
pursuant
deed.
to decree of divorce, no tax due, quit claim deed.
Yeah.
And basically, the date and the time frame is good. And I
Okay,
asked,
so
I said, well,
that-
to me, it sounds good. And but the planning board suggested basically just to make sure, send it to the registry of
Right.
deeds. And if there is no information because they didn't send the stuff back.
Here's what
into-
she'll need at the registry. The references in there are deed from 1966. Now, online, they only go back to 1975. So what she needs to do is go there and get that 1966 deed. A quitclaim deed can say anything you want it to say.
Right.
Yeah,
But that's not done by the court. Quick claim is not done by.
that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah, it's not
That's why I
done by
said go
court.
back and get the 66 deed.
A quiet claim is done by court.
So they're basically gonna go to Keene, try to see if they can find the documentation. And if there is no documentation in Keene, because they weren't sending, according to somebody a lot smarter than me, say that they weren't necessarily sending all the deeds to Keene, that if the selectmen wanna take that date as the subdivision date, I guess we can.
I would accept 1966 as the date right now.
So that's what I was thinking too, but just to make sure, she's gonna go to Keene and check it and then get
All
back
right,
to us.
if we decide that, yes, that documentation you have right there proves that it was subdivided prior to as early as 1966, probably earlier than that,
Right.
what do we have to do to get her the permit from the state? I'm assuming that what you're saying is that if we sign off on it saying that it was subdivided prior to 1971, then she doesn't need to appeal,
Right.
okay?
And everything would go a lot smoother, is what the way
Yeah.
that she worded it to
Alright.
me. So it's just an FYI. I know she's already gonna be going to Keene. She said
Alright.
she was gonna go Tuesday last
she-
week or.
If she brings back that 1966 deed, that should settle it.
Right, and that's what I was comfortable with too.
Yeah.
I didn't see, just because the time frame, they weren't all being sent to Keene at the time.
Yeah.
So,
Or any deed prior to
So do
1971.
you want this
Right.
one or not?
So, okay, so this Wilson subdivision's good. The next one was Brad Hunter. He came into the planning board and he was asking about his property over on Old Marlborough Road. Once again, he did bring in some documentation. The planning board then took the scale and measured it, and it said that 1 inch equals 60 feet, put it on the scale, and there was a conflict on the actual drawing. So we told him, I said, listen, we need a certified documentation by an engineer, like we asked in the letter. We needed the septic and the engineer approval of the septic, and a couple other things. Basically, I just reiterated everything that we had in the letter. And I also called NHDES today and asked them what they knew about this property, and I actually talked to, I left my paperwork, but Darren King, and he gave me the number to Rob Tardif, and I left a message with him, and then I called Jen Payton, and in her voicemail it said that if you go online to nhdes.gov, that you can, if you're looking for information for that certain piece of property or whatnot and all the approvals, you could actually go in there and you could pull out all the information. So that's what I did, and I printed out all the information. So while I was looking over it, one of the questions was that are you 250 feet away from any wetlands or water source? And he said yes. That's an issue because according to the maps that he's provided, everything is within 250 feet. So my recommendation as of right now, until he proves that he has a completed plot plan with all the documentation backing it up, to include the septic design, the septic, and now NHDES is re-looking into this. They're going to call me back tomorrow because 2 of them weren't in today. And we hold off and make sure that this is all 100% if we're going to put our names on this.
And that's exactly what we told him the last time he was in.
So, going on to the ZBA, I talked to John Collins, and for meeting with the ZBA for the people that are trying to put a variance in for the second driveway and for the Bill Rose up
Yeah.
on Richmond Road. They didn't receive the applications, and when Alissa, apparently when you sent your email, they responded to each other. They sent it out to each other, but they never CC'd you back, so they knew that the information was going out. So yesterday when we said we couldn't, or last week when we said we couldn't get any, they already are expecting the application. There was only one application from Mike Walsh in the folder, and so they're not going to schedule a date or a time frame until they actually get the application. There's no point in doing it. They need the application first. But Jody is aware of it. John Collins is aware of it. They
were here today.
okay. So ZBA. Another thing that was brought up during the planning board was Joel Thompson's, what's the name of his place? The
Grandpa Joe's.
Grandpa Joe's. Sorry, I had a long day.
That's all right.
The barriers for the
She's
parking.
sitting right here. You could ask her.
So the barriers for the parking, I guess when he went to the planning board and put up the whole parking issue and everything like that, it was discussed about the back side of the property where you can park on the right-hand side.
Right.
That it's a drop-off right there, and I guess the planning board asked to put something up, some barriers, so no car will actually just drive off. And for lighting, adequate lighting, so if anybody's walking over there at night, they can see what's going on. Kind of like the same issue that we had at the community center, adding another light. So we just need to get a hold of Joe Thompson and see about where he's at for that.
Write down and see you.
So just a heads up. And moving on to the budget committee. So we went over the numbers for the 2016 town report and the numbers with the current budget and the differences, and we brought them up with Alissa to get those numbers corrected for the current budget and the numbers that we agreed on during town meeting. Those have been fixed, so we're good on that now. And for roller skating, last Friday we had roller skating at the Troy School. It was our first event that we actually rented out the town's roller skates. It was a hit. I don't remember how many people we had. I think it was well over 40, maybe 50. I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head. And Bob Norton was actually approached by Hinsdale, I think their rec department over there, and asked if we could actually rent the skates to them so they can actually have roller skating day or night over at their area. The skates are currently have racks now. Stuart Harris built some nice racks. The only issue was they were a little too tall to fit into my trailer. They're temporarily using my enclosed box trailer to transport them. But we're all set up and everything seemed to go. Just a matter of figuring out things. It was our first time doing it, and for us. But I don't know what you guys' opinions were for Hinsdale. If we want to do it, if we want to check with our insurance company and see if it's okay, or if we just wanted to okay it. Basically.
Well, I think that's where we need to start. We need to do a little research first, and then we could table it for tonight and get a hold of the insurance company, see where we stand. And Allan, is there anything else you can think of?
Yeah, I have a question. And I'm concerned, is it even worthwhile doing financially? What is the rental rate for the skates?
When we were renting it off from the previous guy, Wensko Wheels, we were charging $7 if you rented skates. We actually dropped that down to $5.
Right.
The reason for it, when you have 4 or 5 kids coming in with you, it gets really expensive, and we want to try and make sure we can bring as many people in there so we can skate. The other thing was trying to find change for it. It's easier if you have a $5 than it is when you have a $7.
$1, $5, $10.
So the answer to my question is $5.
So we are charging $5 if you, yes.
Okay, thank you.
If we are charging $5.
All right. My next question was, how many skates did you rent out Friday night?
It was anywhere between 40 and 50. And
Okay.
then plus not...
Let's say 50.
And then we had people bring in their own skates as well. So.
Okay, but in terms of the rental, 50 skates or 50 pairs of skates at $5 is $250. Would you expect the same volume in Hinsdale?
At first, I honestly don't know. Probably not at first, but
All
once
right.
they get the word out,
All right.
We-
Let's say it's the same show, same turnout in Hinsdale. That's a bigger town. They may get more people. But let's say that the gross revenue in Hinsdale is $250, and let's say that it's a 50-50 split with Hinsdale, because they want part of that revenue. So that means the Troy Rec Committee gets $125. Is it worth it for somebody from Troy Recreation to load up those skates, go to Hinsdale, spend the evening there, renting them out and collecting them back in and come back for $125?
well, when it was brought up to the rec department,
Yeah.
we were all for it, and it's just the logistics on figuring out.
But did you
if we
work
could
out the dollars on it
No, we
to
didn't.
see if it was worth it doing it?
No,
Yeah.
it was one of the things that we were just trying to. If they were interested in doing it, we didn't mind doing it. We didn't mind go. It was the whole other thing about if it having a business kind of thing. If we were even allowed to type.
Right.
Right, and I think that's where we should start. I don't
Right.
think this should be even part of it yet until
Well,
the money you can decide later. If it's going to be a big liability, we're done.
right, the insurance company says, no, we don't do it.
Right.
But at the same time, and I'll tell you, if the feeling at the Recreation Committee is that they want to do it, fine. I'd vote in favor of it, because they're the ones that have to do the work.
Right.
But before you do it, you just may want to say, is it worth it?
Right. I mean, that goes back to anything that we do.
Yeah,
We'll try
exactly.
anything once,
Yeah.
and if it's a big turnout and people enjoy it, and
Yeah,
the
you may get a
town-
bigger turnout.
Right. It's
Maybe charging $7 over there.
well, we didn't
Well,
really
no,
figure out
it-
what our charges were going to be for them anyway.
Yeah.
For us here in Troy, we charge $5.
Okay.
Over there, they might charge $6. They might keep the $1. We'll get the $5 still.
Well, if you split it
So-
that way, my example was 50-50 split. If the split is different from 50-50, then you've got more money.
Right. So we haven't actually thought about the logistics on it. The first thing was, are we allowed to do it?
Yeah.
And then after that, we'll do anything once. We did the father-daughter dance, we did the mother-son dance, we did a bunch of things. Some things work, some things don't, and we're just kind of like throwing feelers out there. So if they want us to do it, we're game. We'll send some people over there if we're available. The enclosed trailer that we're using can be towed behind my truck, Bob's truck,
Right.
and a couple other people's vehicles, so we're good on that aspect. Another thought, also, they were actually, it's going to probably be coming up, probably Bob's going to end up bringing it up, about if purchasing an enclosed trailer for the rec department. The thought process behind it was the management, or the hazardous management place, what is it?
Hazmat?
Yeah, they have a trailer, the fire department has a trailer, the police department has a trailer. If we want to do some stuff and move, we're also purchasing some grills and a couple other things onto the common, and just to move the stuff, doing that. So we're looking into actually purchasing an enclosed trailer that'll be big enough that we can actually put that stuff in there as well.
Mine's for sale.
So
It's 8 by 20.
that might be a little too big for what we.
Just cut the back off.
But we're looking at either mine's a 6 by 12, and we thought and the height is the issue, but we're fixing it by cutting down the racks, and we're going to be looking. I mean, we don't want to spend a whole lot of money, especially if we can save some money somewhere. And that money will be coming out of the revolving fund because it's for the rec department. And the only other issue was, is it allowed to, because the registration for the vehicle or the trailer.
It's a reoccurring expense.
For the registration, correct.
Right.
So, I mean, that's just a thought. We're going to get thrown out there. For right now, I have no problem using my enclosed trailer. I wasn't using it, and it just took a couple things out of it. And but until then, we just need to know if we can do it.
Alissa, are you going to call the insurance company?
I'll send Amy an email tomorrow.
Fine, thank you.
And that is all I have at this time.
Okay,
Thank you.
let's move on to new business. Sorrel sign application. I put that over in front of you. Do you have it?
Can I go next before we go on to new business?
Sure.
Okay. As far as the sign on Mackey Road is concerned that we talked about last week for no through traffic.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Jimmy put out an email to other townships to see if anyone else has had the same problem. And they have, and no one knows what to do about it. They came back with suggestions for signs. And I had a suggestion today too, like you fool, don't.
All right, well,
Not a
just,
free word. But
the issue is,
there
the
is-
issue is that large trucks are going down that road thinking they can go out the other end.
Correct.
And they can't.
And Friday was a good example.
Yeah.
They stopped and asked Jimmy Friday. Jimmy has helped semi-tractor trailers turn around up there to get them out, because the GPS has taken them all the way, and it ends up being not a through road. So dead end signs do not do any good. But today, Jimmy found out there is a federal website for exactly things like this.
To correct the GPS.
So, yes. So Jimmy was calling GPS today to following the algorithm here and to see what he could find out, and he's getting back to us.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
So that takes care of that.
We hope it takes care of it.
No, it will, one
Yeah.
way or the other. We have a new shed in town, and I'm sure you haven't seen it, but you pass it. It's on High Street. It's owned by LeBlancs, and it's not quite as big as the one across from me, but it's there. On high, left side, fourth hung,
Right after the big white house.
right after the Tudor. It's the two-story.
All right, what's the issue?
Apartment building.
Well, if it's over 100 square feet, they need a permit.
All right.
So it could be a 10 by 10 or
Right,
8 by
Mr.
10.
Rhodes goes by it every day. I'm sure he
100
has
feet, my
something to
bad.
say about it every day.
100 square feet.
120.
I thought it was 200 square feet.
No, it's 100 square feet. I put out wrong numbers last time. I found out it's 100 square feet. We don't need a permit. 100 feet and under. So a 10 by 10 or an 8 by 12, you're good. But once you go like a 9 by 12, you need a permit.
All right, well, would
But
you
either
take a look at it and
Uh,
see what it's on the left-hand side going up high. And it's right there, you can't miss it. I think it's the fourth house on the left,
Okay.
okay? And then you can take it from there, decide.
Fifth.
Oh, is it the fifth? Okay. Alrighty. We have it on new business, so I'm done until we get there.
Okay, Sorrel sign application. Do you have that?
No, you do, it's in your folder.
No, I was asking Curtis.
Oh,
Oh, no?
So I thought I put it in front of you.
no, I thought I saw it laying right there.
But it was in here, and I took it out and I put it in front of Curtis.
Oh, I didn't see that.
All right.
I don't see it.
Shit. Here it is,
There it
okay.
is, right there. I thought I saw it there.
It made its way back in. Sorrel wants to put a sign out in front of their business. It says factory outlet. It's the only words on the sign. Setback from the center line, it says 43 feet from the road right away. 150 feet from the sidelines. 475 feet from the rear lot line. Size is 32 square feet. It's a wood handmade sign made by McCanny Signs, Mercancy.
Is it lighted by any chance?
Doesn't say.
Lighted signs, allowable number of signs per lot.
Yeah, as I'm thinking, I don't think it's the number of signs, but it's
The
the
size.
collective
The
square feet.
size.
That's what we
Right.
went through with Dollar General.
Number and dimensional requirements, allowable number of signs per lot for individual establishments, 1 freestanding sign and 1 building sign per lot. Multiple use establishments may use 1 common directory sign on the lot, not to exceed 75 square feet. Each separate business may have 1 building sign as specified in Table 1. When a premise is located on a corner lot and has public entrances on more than 1 public way, 1 additional sign may be erected. No sign shall be located closer than 15 feet to any side or rear property line.
Clearly meets the setbacks.
Okay, so it meets the setbacks. And what's the size of it?
32 square feet, 8 by 4.
So it's within that 75 square feet for a multi-use establishment. Is it one use for, that's the...
It's a single building. Sorrel is the former
Across from my
sportsman's
house.
den, across from Grandpa Joe's.
Nothing else is in that building?
No.
No,
Restaurant.
no.
So for a single... One freestanding sign and 1 building sign per lot.
Yeah, but isn't there a collective square footage for both signs?
Yes.
'Cause I remember this issue came up with Dollar General. That's why they have such small letters on the front of the building.
Just give me a second. Total permitted square feet, is that considered the village district,
That's the business
No, it's
district.
business, yeah.
business district, highway business? You're allowed 40 total square feet.
Okay, but what constitutes the measurement? As I recall with Dollar General, it was the letters and not the size of the board that they're on. At least on the front of the building it was. I think for the freestanding sign, it's the total square footage.
The building sign square footage is 16 square feet. The freestanding sign and square footage is 24 square feet, not to, and 25 feet high.
What are
For
you
a
reading
total
from?
permitted square feet of 40 square feet.
What is that? All right, let's take a look at that.
So business, highway business.
Yeah, so
If
their
it's a
building sign,
freestanding
well, their building sign is already up. So the freestanding sign is allowed 24?
Yes.
Okay, and they want 32, so
So that would, they'd have to go get a variance.
get a variance
To
on
the
it. Yep.
ZBA,
All right,
I'm thinking that's, yeah.
all right. So Alissa, will you respond to them on this and reference page 4 of the sign ordinance?
Or if they just want to make it smaller to 24 square feet,
Yeah,
they
they
can do so, and they don't have to go to ZBA.
Yeah, they could keep their, the letters the same size.
So if under 24,
24 and under.
Providing their building sign, there is less than 16 feet. So the building sign can only have a maximum square feet of 16 square feet.
But on the building sign, it's the actual letters.
They have no letters on their building.
Do they have just the front sign up front? Okay.
Because the sports shop used to have it on the side of the building. Which of course it's
I-
not, it's down now.
I hadn't noticed what they had done there, because whenever I drive by there,
You're looking
I'm looking
straight
straight
ahead.
ahead.
I'm gonna get a recording of that.
So, all applications for the sign shall be
Do you know how many times I've almost ran him off the road? And he's looking
Location.
straight at, so he doesn't know it's me.
Yeah.
When was this? I never saw you.
There you go.
So, just have them refer to sign ordinance, page 4,
Yeah,
under number and dimensional requirements. G2.
She can just make a copy of that and send it over.
Yeah, if you want.
Can you leave it right open for me?
Because the maximum total square feet is only allowed 40. And that's why Dollar General,
Right.
With the
well,
tiny
he could-
letters.
with the tiny letters and everything like that. I'm not sure if it's the tiny letters or if it's the, I think their sign is the letters, not the, they don't have a board around theirs.
on the front of the building, that's correct. So what they do is they actually measure
The letters
from
themselves.
corner to corner, the dimensions of that, but for the freestanding sign, the pylon sign out front, it's the dimensions of the whole sign.
Okay. So, all right.
Is
Got it?
that, is that your copy?
Leave it open.
It's the book in.
Oh, okay,
Live in the back here.
All right. All right. Joel Hannon, 5 Starkey.
Okay. David and I went over last week and checked it, and
All right.
there was no movement.
Okay,
I came in this morning, that's right behind here.
But what's it for again?
we received a complaint that somebody was tearing down a shed and
He
putting
did
up
tear
a
it down.
garage or a larger shed that would exceed
Okay.
the old footprint, and it's like right along the property line.
Okay.
And so last week, Barb and Dave went over there and talked to the contractor who was going to do it.
No, that was 3 weeks ago.
Was it 3 weeks ago? Okay, but I think at that time,
I told them to stop,
yeah,
okay?
Okay.
told the contractor, so he knows.
Okay.
Which is his father-in-law.
Oh, all right. Well, even so, he should know.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so last week David and I walked over and checked on it to make sure there was no movement, and there had not been. This morning I came in, his neighbor came in and complained that they were digging a footer. So David was here, we walked over, and Bill Rogers is the one doing the work. And it's 100, they changed the size. He made it smaller. It's 197 square feet now. The complaint from the man next door was he can still get his Jeep in there, it's a garage. It's like, no, if he's under the standards, he's fine. But that now, that has nothing to do with it. The home was going through, at one point, foreclosure. And the foreclosure company apparently was satisfied by the homeowner. He has been told twice, the homeowner, to come in here and change the records. As far as we are concerned, the foreclosure company is the owner of that home. Until the records show that he owns that home, he can make no changes to the property whatsoever.
Okay. That change would not come from him, it would come from the company handling the foreclosure.
No, it has to come from him.
Well, because we're not going to take a homeowner's word that, oh yeah, the bank said everything was okay.
No, he has all of
There's a release that he gets.
No, wait, yes, he has all the appropriate paperwork.
Oh, okay, all
They
right.
check.
Okay,
Okay, this isn't, we're not just doing
All right.
this off the top of our head.
all right.
He has all the appropriate information. He just needs to come in and have it taken care of. But in the meantime, he cannot do any construction whatsoever to the property, as far as the town is concerned. So he has to be notified of that. I wasn't going back over. I've been there 3 times. So I guess he needs something in writing.
All right, you
Saying-
can write that up.
No, not really.
Why not?
I have so much, my calendar this month,
Yeah.
okay, every day I am booked, every single day.
All right.
This is a bad month. Curtis can write it up. He's planning. This has to do with planning.
I
What?
See, I could have done it.
oh boy.
But the rest of my week is gonna be taken up putting that coupon together.
I'm in here every day.
I'll write the letter.
Thank you.
Urgh.
I know, but if it's planning, Curtis should do it.
Curtis gotta go to work in the morning.
Well, he does.
All I have to do is sleep late and then come in here.
Oh, all right.
All right. Monthly department head meetings. We talked about this last week, and I have a suggestion. What I would like to do is to meet monthly. The issue last week was trying to find when we could do it, and I think the only way we're going to make this work is if we do it in conjunction with our Monday night meeting. If we try to do it another time, it's got to be a public meeting. You got to put up the 91A notices. You got to have minutes. But if we include it, if we incorporate it into the Selectmen's meeting, that would solve all that. So what I would suggest doing is a monthly meeting, and I got some dates here I want to throw out. October 16th, November 13th, December 11th, January 8th, February 12th. I would not do one in March because in March you've got the town meeting and the elections and everything else going on. And then after that, the first meeting after the election, whoever is on the board here can set the dates going forward.
Did you do November and December?
Excuse me, can we just pause 1 minute?
Yep.
Yes.
How long are these meetings gonna be, and when are you blocking out the time for them?
Okay. I would say 30 minutes. And I would make them start at 6 o'clock.
Okay, well, before our so make the selectmen's meeting start earlier.
I'm sorry, not 6 o'clock, 6:30. In other words, it would be the first thing on our agenda.
Okay, but we
Don't
have.
don't look at that. Okay, here's what I'm suggesting. We bring them in, and we won't even do the minutes of the previous meeting. We'll call the meeting to order and hold our department heads meeting. Maximum of 30 minutes. Everything that we have on the schedule for budget, on those nights, we'll push everything back 30 minutes. That doesn't affect the budget committee, it only affects us and the people who are coming in.
And everybody already has the list and has been notified.
Well, we'll notify them again, and that's not every week, it's only on, let me take a look at the list here for the budget committee. We have people coming in on October 16th, so the town clerk, library, and cemetery trustees. And actually what you could do is, depending on what, Marcy might not like to do it this way, but she's doing it 6:40, so yeah, we could just have her come in after the other two. Then the library and the cemetery trustees would stay where they are. You see what I'm saying?
No, I think Marcy should go first because she's already gonna be here for the department head meeting.
That's a good point, okay. So we would just push everybody else back. So we would start with town clerk, tax collector, as soon as we finish with the department heads meeting.
So 7 o'clock.
Yeah, we'll schedule it for 7, and whatever time we finish, she's right here, we just start. Now, library. The librarian is not required to attend these meetings, but we'll invite her. Actually, Marcy's not required to be here, but she wants to be. But since the library doesn't work for us, we invite her to participate. But she's coming in that night for a budget, along with the other trustees. So they would get pushed back from 7:10 to 7:40. Cemetery trustees are on tap for 7:40. They would get pushed back to 8:10. I would actually probably just tighten those up a little bit too.
Okay, before we go any further, I think you should take your tentative date, and I
Yeah.
think we need to check with the department heads. They might have conflicts.
Okay. What we could do is we could come up with a coordinating process where hopefully by next March we'd have our schedule worked out.
Fine.
No, and it's going to go right back to what Marcy was saying. Well, we say we're going to do it and we don't do it. If we're going to do it, I say we schedule the dates tonight.
Well, I don't want to do that until they have some input. I think they need, the meetings are for them. So
All right.
if 2 of them out of the 4 can't be here, well, why do it? We're defeating the purpose.
All right, how do you want to handle it?
Take the tentative dates,
All right.
we'll post it in here somewhere, like each one of them come in every,
They'll all be here tomorrow morning for paychecks.
okay, there you go.
All right.
She can check with them, If they have conflictions, we'll change a date here and there,
All
or
right.
whatever.
Which we could do anyway.
Right.
I'm just
Right.
trying to, go ahead.
Well, I hate to enact those and then have to redo all of them or whatever. It'll only take a day, 24 hours. By next Monday, we'll know, and you can,
All right. And I don't mind changing them again and again if we need to. I just want to get something, a first draft on the table.
okay, we can do it Monday.
All right.
What
So
do you
table
think?
this until Monday?
All right, in terms of the exact dates, but what about the concept?
Oh, yeah.
All
it's
right.
fine.
Yes.
All right, so what I'm suggesting now, I'm just showing you how it would work.
Right.
And I'm using the first date on there of October 16th as an example of how we would do it. And then the next date is November 13th, Highway Department and Transfer Station. So Jimmy would be here anyway. Next date is December 11th. We don't have anybody coming in. So the budget hearing, or the budget schedule, only affects the first 2 dates.
Okay, well, I still want them to be apprised.
That's fine.
They're part of this.
That's fine, but just based on looking at this, I would say that Marcy is definitely going to be available for the 16th, and Jim is definitely going to be available for the 13th, because they're already scheduled in.
Okay.
So did you get all those dates, Alissa?
No, I'm gonna need that.
Okay,
Don't worry, I can read it.
all right. Just trying to see if there's anything else. This is a piece of scrap paper. I see if there's anything else on here that I needed. Yeah, I still need this. So I'll read them to you. October 16th, November 13th, December 11th, January 8th, February 12th. Okay, any further discussion on that? No, okay. Letter from US EPA transfer of Troy Mills landfill Superfund site. That's just a letter from the federal EPA saying that they are transferring the control of the hazardous waste site to the state, because at this point anything that they have to do is done, and now it's just what they call operations and maintenance. So nothing that we have to do on that. Oh, here's a good one. Letter from CAI on remapping. They're the ones that do our tax maps. They are suggesting that we go through a process where they use, think of Google Maps, where you can actually see the way the roads are laid out, and they readjust the tax maps in case there's a slight variance in where the roads are, and they just make that, they make it all match. They want to know if we want to go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
Is there a cost? Wait,
So-
hold
Okay,
it.
that's right. Wait. I'll tell you what it costs.
All right, thank you.
$70,000.
No, I think I'll decline that request.
Well, there's two different ones.
But I know. I just wanted to get the shock value
Oh,
of
okay,
that.
like I did too, okay.
All right.
Well,
Yeah.
when was the last time that these maps were actually updated and everything?
Well, when's the last time that our roads shifted?
Well, are they accurate?
I don't know.
I don't know, are you donating $70,000 to do it?
Let's put it this way. It's not going to happen this year.
No.
No.
Well, that would obviously have to be a warrant article at town meeting. We're
Yeah,
not going to.
no, yeah,
Yeah,
that's,
and I don't really want to put one in, and we don't have to do it. We can do it next year or the year
And
after.
it takes 3 to 4 years to complete.
Yeah, it's a long-term
For
project.
that one.
Yeah.
whoa.
That's actually,
It's
they,
70,000 a year or
No.
total?
No,
For the
total
full
of the
project.
project,
they
I'm
actually
sure.
take and go back and reread all the deeds and actually,
Yeah.
You know,
It would fix everything.
that wouldn't be a bad thing.
but
Yeah,
then
probably
there's
not.
another one where they
$70,000
read,
later.
what was the other one?
Um,
That was less money.
yeah, it was,
Well, another thing also, I think the people would need to realize that there may be some backlash here. There's gonna be movement. There's movement in the road, there's going to be movement on property.
Basically taking the maps and lining them up, basically is what it was, with the maps we have now, correct?
yeah, it's not really Google Maps. I was using that as an example because people are familiar with it.
$70,000.
Yeah, the other one is called, that $70,000 project is called Record Research Parcel Remapping. The other option is on-screen parcel digital recompilation,
Yeah, 5 times fast.
and that's 17.5. They would work to screen, they'd work just on a computer screen to realign the roads and fit the parcels to match the physical evidence on the image-based map. But they don't go and look at the deeds.
Can you print them
Yeah,
out?
so how accurate is it?
I don't know, probably.
So it's not gonna be real accurate. So it's either 70 grand or maybe we'll wait and see.
Well, for this year, I don't want to do either.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Um,
We don't have the money to do either, so let's move
Yeah.
on.
Well, by this year, I mean, I don't want to put a warrant article in for
Right,
town meeting 2018 either.
right. I don't either.
Okay. All right, seminar in Winchester. Alissa, would you tell us about this?
The town administrator in Winchester called, they're doing a free seminar in Winchester on September 28th to 1 to 2 hour. They have some professionals coming in on how towns should be dealing with different hoarding issues. It kind of goes into properties that have lots of stuff that are hoarding.
Stuff, yeah.
Who's doing it, Marge? Who's doing this?
It's the town of Winchester's putting it on.
Right, Marge in Winchester. Is she the one
Yes.
that's putting it on?
Yes.
Well, I think she's
But she
hosting.
has other, yeah, right, she has other people coming in for the speakers. So she wanted to open it up to anybody in Troy for employees that could benefit from it. I thought that I should go because of the welfare.
I would like to go,
And the
because I have dealt with her on the nuisance.
Mhm.
Okay, this is what she does. I mean,
And-
she goes in hoarders' homes.
Was figuring that Dave and Mark also should be, because of the situations where they've had to go into where there's been hoarding issues. It would be bad for them to know what their rights are, what they can do, what they can't do.
I think it's a great idea. Okay, so you're gonna go?
Yes,
Okay, Barbara, you're gonna go also?
Yes.
And will you contact Dave and Mark
I will.
and invite them to go as well? And that's September
September
28th at
28th.
1 o'clock.
The same day the Giorgiani, or the, used to be the Giorgiani.
Yep, used to be.
Or-
Okay, well, that's at 1, from 1 to 2 in the afternoon.
Right.
To 1 or 2, well, it's 1 o'clock
Till
for 1 or 2
whenever.
hours, yeah. Okay, NHMA conference is November 15th and 16th. And Alissa, generally we send you to that
It's the
to
only one I
attend.
go to a year.
Okay, and they have, I think they have a general session, they have a lot of seminars and various things dealing with municipal government. It's a valuable thing. And it's also available to any of us who would like to attend. And you can go online and see which seminars are available and you schedule, you sign up for whichever ones you want to attend.
And they haven't
Right.
put those up yet, but as soon as they do, I'll print them out.
Okay, but I think you should go to that.
Yes.
So do we need to vote? I move that Alissa attend the NHMA conference in November.
I
And
second.
I usually go up the night before because
Yeah,
of the whole
and stay for
driving
2 nights.
thing, and
Yeah.
stay for 2 nights.
But everybody does that, yeah. It's the only way to do it. Okay, so there's a second, all in favor? Aye. Motion
Aye.
carries.
Okay.
Okay, we had oil bids scheduled for tonight, but we didn't receive any. So just, when you need buy oil, just call whoever's got the lowest price that day.
I'm gonna try discount again because she did call me and ask me
Yeah.
when it was coming
Oh,
up.
okay,
And I told
all right.
her, and it was in the paper.
All right? Curtis, do you have anything else for tonight?
I just had a question about, do we have a property book for the town of Troy? In other words, everything that the town owns, do we have accountability on it?
No. The magic word in your question was A.
Do we have several property books?
Probably. You know what we're talking about?
I'm lost.
We're using military terminology here. In every military unit, there's a property book, and it's a list of every piece of equipment for which you're accountable. This table would be on the property book. That file cabinet would be on there. Vehicles are on it.
Yes,
We
I'm
have one with vehicles definitely, but as far as tables and chairs and file cabinets and stuff, no.
Well, what about
Computers.
computers, printers,
No.
Well, there's only so many of them.
anything that has a serial number?
No,
For,
we don't.
like, would Jimmy have one at his place?
No.
I
Like
doubt it.
welders
I
and
doubt it. I think there are probably several lists of stuff.
I can show you right there in that top file cabinet of what I have. That's all I have.
I was just wondering, because in the military, you got to have accountability for a commander. You got new people rotating in and everything like that.
But
So
we
how
don't.
do we keep track of stuff?
Yeah,
If the
and-
town buys, and the town, we should be able to pull it up.
And
say,
here's an
okay,
example. If you buy a piece of equipment, it gets added to your property book, like a
Right.
toolbox. We were talking
Right.
about that earlier.
Should I put that $6 Dollar Tree purchase?
Yeah, I put it on.
No,
our
I'm
list.
talking about the toolbox that we bought years ago that we can't
The
find.
$30 one.
Yeah,
Okay, I think the point is, we have so few employees with so few items. It's not like we have numerous buildings with numerous things in it that really are high, big ticket items.
Well-
We have very few big ticket items.
community center, you've got,
The TVs, the projectors.
Yeah, that
But
would
we
also-
we know what's in there.
Well, I'm just saying, if we had a book with the pictures of it, with the, the serial numbers on them, and so we can have accountability, and then so every, on an annual basis, go through and make sure we have accountability on the things. Because if we haven't opened it at some point, Cindy Sadis was taking money, and it was how easy it was for that at that time. What about, actual items?
well, that's the toolbox that I mentioned.
So, I mean, that's something that we should probably look into, that we
Yeah.
probably at some point
Need
should
another
do.
committee.
No,
Yeah,
you don't need a
we've
committee
got-
for
we've
that.
got so many other
That, you
more
need,
important
that needs
things
one
to
person
do. I
to
don't know.
honcho that.
Right,
Yeah,
and
maybe.
well, I'm just saying that we kind of owe it to the townspeople. I mean, we go out and spending their money, the town's taxpayers' money, on items for
Yeah.
use for the town. What's to say it's not disappearing down the road? I'm not saying it is.
No,
I'm
but
just
we
saying-
buy very little,
Yeah.
Curtis. It's not like we're shopping every day.
No, well, exactly. I'm just saying, but the fire department, they should have accountability for everything that they have. If they
Oh,
buy
they do.
tanks and chainsaws and stuff like that. The boat that nobody knows about, or the two boats that we have that nobody knows about. I mean, them things should be put on a property book so the town is aware that we have all this stuff.
I agree.
And the other thing, the vehicles, like
Oh,
Jimmy
we
would have,
know.
Jimmy would have a property book for him, and overall the selectmen would be signed for everything, but we sub-hand receipt it down to each department. The rec
Well, I don't think
department-
we're gonna get to that point, that's, because that, the law doesn't require that.
Right,
Federal law
um,
does for you, but,
I'm just saying that we should have accountability on what
Yeah,
we have
right.
and what we don't have in town. I mean,
Okay,
what's to say
then
that?
somebody has to be in charge of that at all times. Because every day, little things may change.
Well, that's why you have an annual inventory. You inventory annually, and somebody signs off on it. Like if, for instance, we'll use the community center, the rec director, even though it doesn't belong to the community, the
Belongs
rec
to the
department,
people, yeah.
belongs to the people. But we'll say the community center, for lack of better things, that Bob Norton, he'd have, his property book that says that the TVs, the projectors, the CD player, DVD player, whatever, and a couple other items that are, that high dollar items. or even-
accountable items,
Yeah,
not,
accountable items.
not expendables.
So I mean, we're not going to count for every fork and spoon. But we should be accountable for everything. And so if somebody does move on and retires or something like that, instead of just saying, well, we used to have it, where'd it go? Well, we should have accountability for all this stuff instead of just going out and
Okay,
spending
you
on the
could be in
taxpayers.
charge, do it.
Well, I mean, I have no problem doing it, but I go to work in the morning. I'm not saying I'm not doing it. I'm just saying that at some point we're
Yeah.
going through job descriptions, we're going through policies and procedures. That should be something that really should be on the list,
Yeah.
and we can actually talk with the department heads. That the
At one of our
ambulance-
monthly meetings.
at one of our monthly meetings, start getting a list, get the serial numbers, take a picture of it, and just start putting it in a book. It's something that doesn't have to be done right away. It's just as we go, take a picture of the projector
Yep.
at the community center, take a picture of the serial number, annotate it in the book. Okay, so now once a year you go through, okay, is that the serial number? Yes, okay, that's accountable. Sign it off or write up a memorandum saying it's there. Alissa, you'd have one for your printer, your computer. I wouldn't say, I don't think there's no serial numbers on the desks and the chairs and everything, but
I would laugh if you thought I was getting these out of here without anybody seeing me.
I know you're a strong woman, so.
Not only that,
But-
somebody could take this.
I don't.
But we definitely should have accountability on everything,
Agreed.
so.
Good project, but probably not one we want to start in the next couple of weeks.
Right, so it's just something for future endeavors, and like I said, I don't mind starting it, or even sitting down with each department.
Yeah.
And it's not, I do it on the military side, we have to account for all our toolboxes and equipment, and I'm actually signed for millions of dollars to the Department of the Army. Just setting it down, I can bring in an example of what we do at work, and it actually works really well, because you can see what it looks like. The other issue was, for instance, the TV, where the electric, down the community center, the so-called a lightning made the lines blurry in it. We got a new one put in. Nobody knows what happened to the old TV. Well, we need to have accountability for all this stuff, and you know, that's definitely needs to be, you know, rectified. So.
All right. I think probably after the first of the year, time to look at that.
That'll work.
Because with the budget season coming up, we're gonna have our hands full.
Right. I understand.
Actually, I would say at this point, with budget right on the horizon, followed by the budget hearing, followed by town meeting, we probably wanna wait until after,
March.
after the election, after town meeting.
So, all right.
Because right now, the last few weeks, things have been kinda slow, but they're about to get very busy.
All right. I understand because I sit on the budget committee and I know we're gonna be meeting every week, and
Yeah.
that was just something that we were going over, and
Yeah.
if we're gonna go into, you know, job descriptions as well as policies and procedures, well, we might as well take that extra step and do the.
I agree,
property book.
I agree, I think it's a great idea, long overdue. So, yeah. Anything else?
That's all I have.
Barbara?
Non-public.
Okay. Norm, do you have anything for us? Okay.
Because did you figure out who the new Chrysler was?
That I do not know. I did make a couple phone calls, see if anybody knew who that was, and nobody, off the top of their head, they said no. But I
know
did
his
call.
name coming to me, but
I did call New Hampshire DES about.
he told Brad's wife here that the driveway's illegal and
Right, I understand, but until there's documentation saying there's otherwise, I mean, right now there's a whole mess of conflicting information about that property. With the plot plan, with New Hampshire DES now, I talked to them earlier on the phone, and they're supposed to be getting back to me tomorrow, and I'll follow up with a phone call. And we're just gonna wait until we get the actual documentation to move forward.
I think he would have popped in today because he wasn't too happy about it.
But, no, I don't know who that is. I don't know.
What did you ask him? What was?
Yeah, the older fellow, he knew all about the sewage line and the rock that's on top of it, and he said Brad Hunter does not have a license, and that's an illegal driveway. He drives a big blue car, it's a Chrysler,
Yeah.
big boat.
There was questions
I see him
about that driveway
I
actually.
see him at the dump all the time, but I just,
There was questions about the driveway, because when they do a driveway permit, it's only for the first 10 to 15 feet. After that, they have to make sure the person bringing in dirt or excavating all that still has to fall within our ordinances. And he didn't have any of that approved by the town's conservation committee. There's a whole mess of red flags popping up about this property. So, but we're kind of beating a dead horse right now. So
he says, we got a manhole cover. He goes, where's the manhole cover? I said, you're parked on it.
Yeah. Anything else? Alissa, do you have anything else for public session?
I don't think so.
Okay. Then I move that we go into non-public session at 7:58 PM in accordance with RSA 91:3, Roman numeral 2, parenthesis, lowercase, whatever letter it is for attorney correspondence.
I second.
All in favor?
aye.
Motion carries at 7:58. We're in non-public session. I move that we come out of non-public session at 8:16 PM and return to public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're back in public session at 8:17 PM. Any other public business for tonight?
Do you want to seal the minutes?
Move to seal the minutes of the non-public session.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Minutes are sealed. Any other business for tonight? I move to adjourn.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned at 8:17 PM.